Welcome to the Body Buddies podcast, where I teach you how to be the strategist of your own health. We talk nutrition, fitness, and mindset. Get started today at body-buddies.com. Hey Body Buddies. In this episode of the Body Buddies podcast, we are talking about emotionally eating or even binge eating, and if this is an appropriate time to be doing keto if you're dealing with these things. Now, here's the reality. Most people are emotional eaters, so it really depends on the severity that you're experiencing these things, but I hope that today's episode will give you some different aspects to think about. That, yes, there could be nutritional reasons, but mostly it's going to come down to emotions and psychology and some of the things that are going on in our life. So you are hearing part one is going to come from the answer I gave on a Facebook Live, and then part two is actually a little snippet from PFL Academy. So I hope that you will enjoy these trainings and think about what's right for you. If you hadn't heard, PFL, Power Foods Lifestyle Keto, is the hot new thing. We are running 28-day challenges, so make sure you get in on the new one by heading over to powerfoodslifestyle.com/keto challenge. That's KETO challenge. What if I tend to be a binge eater and I emotionally just gravitate towards food? Well, there's two things I'd like you to consider. Number one, are you turning towards binging and emotional eating and that sort of behavior because you are nutritionally deprived, or you've been pushing your body in a dieting manner that has given too few calories, too few nutrients, that your body cannot continue on? There is a point where your body breaks and willpower cannot carry you through. And at that point, you then go headfirst into the, whatever food that is for you. That is the case for some people. For other people, they recognize it is an emotional eating coping mechanism. It's how they cope with fatigue, with stress, with anger, with things not going our way. You just wake up one of those days, you're like, things just are happening to me and nothing is going my way. So that's more of the problem, okay? And I recognize this, and you guys have been around Body Buddies long enough, you know that is my story, so my heart goes out to every single one of you who's worried about that, because you don't want to sabotage this. You know the science, you know how important it is once you go low carb to not go go crazy into the carbs. And so my encouragement is, why not test it? Because the reality is, if you're going to binge and emotionally eat, you're gonna do it in the first week. So you probably won't even truly be in keto, and it really won't be as bad as if you were, let's say you were in keto for 5 weeks and then you binged. The other thing is, and I've coached over 5,000 people, guys. I know how people's brains work. And the reality is, if you do not have, number one, a backup plan, you're gonna fail. You've got to have at least 5 to 10, I'm not kidding you, 5 to 10 foods on a 3x5 card of what you're gonna eat when you're ticked off, when you're sad, when you're depressed, when it's a crappy day, when you wanna just go scream at the world, when everything sucks. Here are your top 5 to 10 go-tos. You have to tell your brain what to do, because your brain in that emergency, stressful situation absolutely will not make the best choice. It's going to ride the past neurological wiring that you've given it. It's called coping. It's how addiction works. This process of making sure your go-tos are there will be your best bet. And then the second thing is making sure that you are very active in our Facebook community when you're inside the challenge. That is where it is won. That's where challenges are won, is in the communication, the accountability, knowing you're going to make a post, you're going to go in there, you're going to applaud other people. Every challenge I've run since we began running them in 2013, that is how they work. It is the community aspect. So when it comes to emotional and binge eating, I would say go for it. Let's get some parameters in place, and absolutely take advantage of my buy one get one coaching offer on the second step when you register for this challenge. How to deal with cravings. This is a question I get so much, and I'd like for you to understand the difference between a craving and a fixation. A craving is going to be a physiological body need. That's going to be like you have a magnesium deficiency and so you're craving chocolate, or perhaps you have a folate deficiency or a vitamin K deficiency and you're suddenly craving a certain type of food. That's going to be different than a fixation, which is like you're on the treadmill and you see
a commercial come on with a Big Mac and fries and a shake, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I want a Big Mac and fries and a shake. I want Big Mac. That's a fixation. That's psychological. Okay, what about all the women who spend a lot of time on Pinterest or on Instagram, and we're looking at foods, or the BuzzFeed videos on Facebook that just come in your newsfeed and people just drool over. And the word for it, honestly, is food porn. Now, that's not my favorite phrase, but in the sense that anything that we fixate on, anything that we kind of look at or lust after with a desire or a carnal desire to indulge, that cannot be looked on with a positive mindset. And so when we're working to create a really positive relationship with food, if we're fixating on foods to that degree, that means that we feel we're restricting ourselves. That feels that we're depriving ourselves. And that should cause us to look inward and ask ourselves, where is my mindset at? Is this truly what my body needs? If it's what my body needs, then I need to go fuel myself accordingly. When was my last meal? Did it have a P and a V and a C or an F? Do I need more food? Are my portion sizes too small? Am I hydrated? Have I missed any of my supplements? Is my body telling me I'm lacking something here? Or is this a fixation? I know if you are following Power Foods lifestyle pretty closely, it will not be a physiological need. It will fall under the fixation category. In that case, you need to think, am I in the right strategy as far as my indulgent strategy goes? If I have chosen the abstainer strategy, is that the best for me? Or is that causing me to just think about food and not till Saturday, and then Saturday I'm gonna go out and I can't wait to go eat? If that's the case, maybe it's time to incorporate a little more moderator strategies. If we have chosen a moderator strategy and all we can think about all day long is when we're gonna get to have that 30 grams of Snickers bar or that 30 grams of cookies or graham crackers or whatever that is also something to look at. It causes us to pause and look inside and say, what about my life is lacking in enthusiasm and joy and reward? Is there any room in my life to gain those feelings from something non-food related? Oftentimes those fixations are a clear indication that we need to look at our lives. We need to look at how we are setting ourselves up. Are we in a job that gives us satisfaction? Are we in a role in our life? Are we spending our time pursuing passions or hobbies or something in your life that gives you joy and satisfaction, something to look forward to, something to reward yourself with? Oftentimes that is the fix for these fixations and for these food relationships that are compensating for something that is perhaps lacking, whether it's feeling empty and lonely in a relationship or maybe without a relationship. It could actually be either story. Feeling underappreciated, feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed, feeling tired, like you just can't catch up. These are a lot of the life issues that are directly linked with our food relationships. And so pause for a moment if you are again experiencing those fixations, and take that time to turn inside and go up on the bleacher seats as I teach over at Power Your Life today. Go up on the bleacher seats of your mind and look down on the arena of your life from an objective viewpoint. Say, what's the story here? And why would this person, view yourself from a third-party objective view, why would this person be fixating on these foods, and why would that be important to him or to her? How can we seek to look at the life and maybe create those feelings in another way? Because we know the food relationship is not serving the person. It's not helping their health. It's not helping them be happy because they're not reaching their goals. And that's how we start to come up with these solutions. So the difference between fixations and cravings is huge. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be you taking a step back to look at your life, look at how you can get a little more fun, a little more excitement, reward yourself. Non-food related rewards are wonderful, whether it's going and buying a new pair of socks. I love going to buy a new article of clothing when I feel I've really hit a goal, or oftentimes it's giving myself permission to not work, to shut my phone off, shut my computer off, and to open a book, to go for a walk, to go for a drive, to go for a day road trip or a staycation, whatever those things be. And of course, finances will always determine what those options are, but perhaps it's even asking your spouse or your partner, that you want to reward yourself with 2 hours of uninterrupted time, and can you watch the kids, and I just need a little me time and I feel I've earned that. I've just really proud of the places I've been and the progress I've made in my goals, and can you help me out with that? So it's a great time to communicate as well and ask for help from other people. Sometimes it's hard to reward yourself, but the more you look at that, the happier you'll feel, the more fulfilled you'll feel, and acknowledge those wins, acknowledge those triumphs. That's a critical part of our human development, is to acknowledge the growth and the progress we are making. Don't be so hard on yourself. You can be tough with yourself, but don't be hard on yourself. There has to be a margin of compassion within all of our food choices. So I look forward to hearing how you take this fixation and you take a chance to look inward and what changes come in your life due to your awareness of reality. You know, stop shoving some things under the rug, and sometimes it's painful. I know it's painful. I coach people through this. I know it's very painful. Often there's tears and great pain involved, but it's a very critical thing in life, and you deserve to do that. So let's step away from the obsessions, the fixations, the coping mechanisms with food.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes. You can learn more about Body Buddies and Power Foods Lifestyle by going to www.body-buddies.com, BODY-BUDDIES.com, and powerfoodslifestyle.com. That's www.POWERFOODS-lifestyle.com.
Information in this episode is provided for informational purposes and is not meant to substitute the advice provided by your own physician or other medical professional. Information and statements regarding dietary supplements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.